Hey there, my name is Michelle Brogan, and welcome to the Under the Influence podcast. I'm so thankful you are joining this journey with me as we hear real stories of how to make real impact. I pray as you listen to this that you will be pushed into kingdom momentum to fulfill all that God has called you to do. Thank you for taking the journey with me. Well, hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Under the Influence. This is the one that I have been waiting for since I started the podcast. We're still only like 2.5 months old, but listen, I wanted you guys to start meeting people in my life. I know I've had special guests on here and friends of mine, but also I'm going to start bringing my family on, but I wanted you guys to meet somebody that's a huge part of my life for the last 30 years, because I know we look 35, so we met when we were 5, but 30 years of friendship, which is, you know, you don't find that all the time. But anyway, my best friend, my MaryBeth, is here in the studio. So let's give it up for MaryBeth, aka Beverly.
Yay, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I am too. So we have nicknames for each other, and everybody is like, why do you call each other Beverly? So her name's MaryBeth. I'm Michelle,
real name.
Eminem, but we'll tell the story of how we met. But when we met too, and we realized we were going to be best friends forever, we were like, okay, we are going to grow old together. Yeah. So when we get old, we might forget. It's going to be maybe hard to remember each other's names. So I said, let's come up with, maybe it was you that was like, let's come up with a name that's
I don't remember, but it was,
to remember. So we came up with Beverly, and just we're both going to be Beverly. Same name. So people always hear us, and our husbands are both Henry. And that's how that came up, because we're going to grow old, and in case we forget, we'll remember at least one name. Yeah. So Beverly, she is an amazing woman of God. She has incredible family. Rob is his real name, is her husband, and Maddie and Campbell, incredible children. We also have a connection because we both love dance, and we both own dance studios and all the things. She's been working with our ministry for 24 years?
31 is this year.
Well, no, we've been but working with DR.
Oh, DR, yes. I thought you meant,
I feel like it's 22, 23 years.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Working with your best friend too on the road and in ministry. Tell us a little bit. I know I just kind of told about your family, but tell them a little bit more about what you do and what God's doing in your life.
So I think it was about the time that God brought you into my life that He spoke the vision of bringing dance into schools. I was teaching at the secular studio that you and I met, and I didn't like it. I didn't have a good feeling about what I was seeing, what I was experiencing, what was happening. And the Lord gave me the vision to take dance into schools. Started taking, I was only 19. Can't believe it.
That's amazing.
And that expanded into many schools into Orlando area. And then we brought it into the Tampa Bay area and continued that with schools. And then eventually we opened a studio, which we will be open now for, I believe this is the 15th, maybe 16th year. Wow. And it's just a beautiful thing how we really have been able to use the vehicle of dance to bring people to Jesus and allow them to experience the heart of God through just the whole experience. So yeah, that's a big part of it. I don't know if I need to.
It's called Dance Quest International.
Dance Quest International.
So if you're listening to this in that area, it's in Brandon.
And we are now into the Central Florida area as well.
How many schools are you in?
We have over 20 schools.
Wow.
And then the studio base.
That's amazing. So you need to find them. And we met at a studio in Orlando. So that a lot of people to ask us, how did we meet? And we were both in very pivotal points of our life where I had come out of a crazy time in my life, and I moved to Orlando, and I wanted to dance again, and I wanted to be back in the professional arena. And I remember working at the studio that used to be a fitness center, and really was like wanting community when I moved to Orlando. I mean, I had walked away from a lot of friendships that I had back in the St. Petersburg, Seminole area, just through the things I was walking through. And I walked out of the studio one day, and there was this beautiful blonde girl standing out in the parking lot with a car that I really wanted, which was a Nissan Pulsar. Black with pink on the side,
pinstripe.
Yes. And I was like, oh, I got to know this girl. And so I walked up. What did I say to you?
Well, I just remember you and I spent I feel like it was like a 20, 30-minute conversation, long conversation. And leading up to that, I believe it was the Saturday that we met, I was in rehearsal. You had just gotten done teaching. I remember specifically that Wednesday before I met you, I had been sowing my wild oats in my college years, and I knew I was not in a good place, and I really missed the Lord, and I knew I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And I remember specifically asking God on that Wednesday, God, I'll go to church by myself. I know this isn't your will. I know my mom was at home praying for me. And I remember asking that I would do it independently, but it would be even better if he brought godly friends into my life. And you and I just immediately, we started talking. We did not talk about the Lord at first. We just talked, I don't even know what we talked about, but it was, I will never forget, we were out in the parking lot, we were leaving, and I popped the trunk of my Nissan Pulsar, put my dance bag in there, and as I was saying that, you said, do you want to go to church with me? And I just remember thinking, oh, she's a believer. And we had already hit it off. It was already so incredible. But that was the beginning of a very fun journey where we started to go to church together and Bible study and all the things. So that was incredible.
Why am I all crying already?
I know.
I just think back to those days and I'm like, wow, we both were needing God.
Yeah.
And I moved to Orlando. I had no friends. I was going to a church there, and I remember going by myself, and met some incredible people that we still talk about, people that are doing incredible things with their life, watching their testimony. We were reconnecting with those people. It was a very different crowd that I know we were both, growing up in high school and the things that we were used to and experiencing, and then coming into this crowd of people that I thought, I don't know if I would hang out with these people, not because I thought we were better. It was just a different crowd,
very different,
that I was like, oh, this is so different. But it was the most beautiful, genuine. We felt like we could be ourselves. We felt like we were seen by him, and it was just such an incredible thing. And then MaryBeth and I, so we were still working at the same place, and then we ended up quitting that place, but still journeying together. And I still remember we would say to each other, so I lived in this apartment in Orlando, and my dad's furniture that he had made me, that was all over that apartment. And we would get together and we would pray and we would read our Bible, and we looked at each other one day and we were just weeping with the presence of God. And we said, one day we're going to do ministry together. We're going to, and ministry back then, I know ministry now is social media and all the things, it's like ministry, highlight, fame, all the stuff. Ministry back then was just like, we're going to make an impact. We just want God to use us. And we would just cry and talk about how we wanted God to use us, but to use us together, because we hadn't found our husbands yet. And we were just like, we're going to do this together.
We're going to do something big for him.
Big. And then we would put on Sandy Patty music at her aunt's house, Sandy Patty and Larnell Harris, and would do these lyrical work, because we were used to dancing more like Broadway styles and different things, and Star Search and the things that I got to do and the things you got to do. And we were like trying to find this new way of worship. And we would put music on and we would just cry and do these,
and use the reflection of the sliding glass door
just to watch ourselves. But we were discovering what worship was with our gift, because we didn't know, and we did do it together. And so it was really incredible.
Yeah. I remember sitting at the coffee table in your apartment, and we didn't know what it would look like to do ministry together. But we were like, is it a dance studio? What would it be? And I just remember us genuinely asking God to give us something that we could do for him together. With dance, specifically with dance. And now look at what we get to do.
So we have been doing stuff a long time together, but I want also people to know too a little bit of part of our testimony, because so we ask people questions and to ask us questions, and we'll get to some of those questions. And one thing that stood out that some people were like, how is this lasted so long? How do you keep a long-term relationship? And I think that especially when you're in town together, we've lived apart, separate states, we still do.
And it's hard.
But there was a period of time where we were so connected, we were doing everything together. I mean, we have so many stories we could tell, but all of a sudden one day too, when you're first walking that spiritual walk, that age, we were in our 20s, young 20s, 21, 22, and doing so much life together, literally living at Disney World with our Disney World passes with all of our friends. But all of a sudden, something changed one day. And tell us a little bit more about that, because, most people are like, oh, you were in each other's weddings, and we weren't in each other's weddings. No. We had a period of time where friendship was tested and that we didn't talk for a while. And I think some people take those moments and they're like, this is done, or if there's a disagreement or something shifts spiritually or mentally or emotionally, that something's over, but how good God is when he calls something, and how we prophesied over each other. We didn't even know what prophecy was back then, but we were like, we're going to do something for the kingdom. But you disappeared out of my life for a little bit, and we disappeared out of each other's lives. And so tell people a little bit more about what you were going through, so that people that are dealing with friendships or dealing with new seasons of life can kind of understand what happened. And then
I think in that season, I think when you're a young adult, you're in your early 20s, you're starting to develop your independence and who you are, and even discovering who you are in Christ. And there's a battle. There is a true battle. I think for me, it really wasn't, I think that was what was so hard, was that you probably felt like it was you. It was really me trying to decide whether or not I was going to continue to walk closely with the Lord, or it was that battle to consider going back out into the world and sowing my wild oats or whatever. But I do believe that in that season, I think the Lord allowed us to be apart for that season so that we could continue to walk in him and discover who we were in him. And I think what's beautiful is it's sad that we ended up getting married literally 2 weekends apart. You got married on September 5th. We got married on September 12th. And one day we're going to get remarried or renew our vows and be in each other's weddings
together, yes.
Right, and be bridesmaids for each other.
Sure.
But I do think that was, I think God's grace was so beautiful later on in life, where I had already had Maddie, and we reconnected. You were getting ready to have Xander. And, I just think it's hard when you go through a painful season in your friendship and in your marriage. Like, think about all those seasons that you go through, but how do you get through on the other side? What does it look like when you press through and you don't give up, and you see the best in each other, and you see each other's hearts, you learn each other's love language, you learn that, she doesn't read it this way, or, I misunderstood her. I was always super sensitive. I would always read into things. And I think we learned so much. Yes, we learned about each other, but we also learned about ourselves through so many hard times. So I think that's what's so beautiful about the grace and our friendship, and knowing that we prayed specifically for a friendship. We were 18, 19 years old. And I'd been through lots of friendships growing up, and developed a bit of an insecurity about friendship, doubt about whether or not I could trust people. And I think that was what was so beautiful, is that you and I walked through hard times, but we got through it. We got to the other side of it, and it only strengthened. It's like working out. We went through a lot of pain to get there. But on the other side, we understood each other and knew our depth of each other.
And I stalked you. I still remember when she was because we didn't have cell phones back then, I don't think. And I would literally track her movement, because I was like, that sounds so crazy, but like, I knew we were called to do Kingdom Feats, and we were going to be friends for life. And I remember showing up at that church called Discovery Church, and you came out of the service with your mom, and there I was standing there like some psycho girlfriend. And I was like, what are you doing? What's happening? And I remember you just looked at me like, you need to give me time. And I had to step back and be like, time, what does that look like? And so God showed me how to fight for our friendship, fight for you. And what was crazy is even how we reconnected after. And I think a lot of people need to know about forgiveness, and not just because someone did something wrong, but to let things go when you know someone's called to you.
Right.
To let things go, and we work through it, and we don't hide it under something, and we talked about it when it needed to be talked about. But if God has spoken something about a friendship, if God has spoken something about a relationship, that you fight for that. And you don't get psycho like me. I stopped following her around and stuff, and was like, God was like, let me do this, but don't stop praying. So then we reconnected again at one of our Dance Revolution events, and I remember seeing her, and I was afraid too, like, if I invite her, I want her, this is our opportunity to do this together. And if I invite her, I don't know what it's going to look like. But it's so much to talk about in an hour period on this. But
not enough time.
We ended up, you saying yes to come on tour with DR, and we had our babies together. We've done this, and to look at friendship of two people that are leader, I don't say that in a cocky way, but that are leader. You own your own company. You are a business entrepreneur. You are a wise woman. To also, what I think people sometimes what's been such an interesting thing is like, it's almost like, not that you came up under me, but like we work together, but it's like you have to work with me, for me, and
sit under your leadership.
Right.
Absolutely.
And most people wouldn't know how to handle that. I think, literally, I don't even know but maybe one person that I've ever seen sit under as a friend without that jealousy, without that comparison, without all of those things, where I have felt bad sometimes, like she just needs to run DR this weekend and I'll work under her. But a friendship that I can celebrate what you do in your company and your business, and we've walked through
so much together.
So much.
Apart
Marriage,
but together.
People.
Yes.
Absolutely. And fought for each other. And that's where me fighting for her, I've watched MaryBeth when I've gone through stuff with my body and things, even in mental health, things that have come back in my life, or my kids, or my marriage, of we have fought the good fight. And it's not always because we're in complete agreement.
Right. We've had, we've been honest with each other and said, I don't see it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's where people right now, I think, because we have such a great divide in our nation, such a great divide in things, that the time that's needed, even with trust, because people are dealing with right now. They don't know if they can trust community at church. They don't know, I don't like girls. I don't want to, like, girls don't want to, like this whole lady I followed on Instagram wrote a whole book about it. Like, she doesn't like girls because girls have been so mean in the ministry, because it's been so much about trying to one up or comparison, or you're more godly, or I don't hear from God, and all these things. And you've been such an incredible friend, and I think people need to know, when you feel things go sour, it's always like, if you can't celebrate your friends and then you wonder why you don't have what they have, or you wish, like, sometimes anybody with friendships or anything, you're going to sometimes sit back and be like, oh, it's so interesting when we even our material things, sometimes when we look at pictures of, oh, you're in the lake, or oh, you like, it's always in our humanity, we think, oh, that would be so different, or this,
the grass is always greener.
Such a celebration, even when it's been tough. We have also had to have tough conversations, which I think a lot of friendships aren't willing to have, the tough, uncomfortable. We just had one 3 weeks ago. We had a tough conversation.
Yeah, we did. You're right. And I was transparent. I had to be very transparent. And you put me in my place in a good way, though. That's what's so beautiful about our friendship, is that we can be honest and transparent with each other and say, hey, listen, like, you're gonna feel this way, and it's okay. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be mad. It's okay. We've had a lot of conversations where I will never forget, years ago, you told me, and you turned lights on for me. You said, you're suffering from a broken heart. That's what's wrong. You're suffering from a broken heart. So you bring light to a situation, but it requires us to be truthful and transparent and humble in our honest feelings. And I think that's but it's a safe place. There isn't a spirit of judgment. It's how I feel.
And I think that vulnerability, I think a lot of people love watching. If you don't follow us, you should follow us on Instagram. We don't have really anything else. We have some Facebook, but I'm not really on there. But a lot of people are always, I just had someone call, whenever we're together, or when she comes in town, we're crazy and we do things. We don't post everything because we are too crazy, and it's not crazy in a bad way. It's that I think so many people are like, oh, you guys do all these crazy things. You're having so much fun. I think that's the problem with a lot of friendships, is you can't be yourself. And that's one thing, even with my kids, is like, I wanted to teach them, like, there's some great people and you're going to want to hang out with people, but if you have to hide any part of who you are, that thing is not going to last. And so we've been able to be totally ridiculous with each other.
Kids.
We are like children still. And sometimes we need to be careful, because we're too, like the things we did this weekend, but I think humor and joy. And even when we're going through super hard times, we try with our voice memos and we try with our texts to not make fun of the situation, but to bring the joy into the situation. We have voices we do together. I can hear her. We laugh at ourselves. Like, there's so much where I want to free some people of, well, I can't do that because I can't be myself, or they might judge that. Well, then
we're leaders. We shouldn't do that. We've got to be real with each other.
And you can't do everything we do in front of everybody. And when I'm saying that, it sounds like but just like our funny voices, or just relaxing in our, hair up, doing what, you can't get on and when you're leading something and just walk in with your PJs and your funny voices and be like, y'all are going to have to accept this. No, we understand timing. We understand when it's time to lead. We understand when it's time to be vulnerable. But I never feel like I have to be somebody else. I never feel, and listen, even with confrontation, because we've had so many confrontations, and that's a beautiful word. Confrontation is going head on with, this is gonna, if we don't get on this and address this, it's going to be a stumbling block.
Right.
And there's been a couple weeks where we're like, we just need a break right now or whatever. But after 30 years, to think that that doesn't grow you up each time, even this last conversation we had after that, I felt like such an open door. Like you even became more asking questions and more things because I was able to say what I wanted to say. You were able to say what you wanted to say. And even though this last couple weeks when we're going through something, just even with our family, there's constant encouragement and checking up, and even with that, we, advice wise, we have, she is an what do you call it?
Empath. I empathize
with me, but also we'll put things into a place where it's not too much empathy that it makes me just need more justice in a situation.
Right. I think that's what's beautiful about how God put us together. I say it all the time, is that you've taught me that confrontation is not only okay, it's a good idea. Like, it's necessary. And I think that even there's different things that you and I both have learned from each other. I mean, you say I'm an empath. You're an incredible empath. You empathize, you hurt for people, and people don't always see that side of you. Once they do, they're like, there's such a depth and deep heart and love inside of you. And so I think you and I mean, iron sharpens iron. And I think you and I have called each other to, that's what's so beautiful about a relationship, a friendship that has God in the center of it, is that he has brought us to a higher level because we're with each other, because we call each other out, or we address things or ask questions that makes us realize, I never even thought about it that way, or I didn't realize I wasn't doing that. Or, I think that's what's so beautiful about what God has done in our friendship, that I've learned to be bolder. I've learned to confront. I'm still learning to do even more of that. And I think the same thing, we've just...
I've learned to be nicer. I'll have to say what I said yesterday when I talk to people.
Oh, yeah. You said, what did you say?
Well, this girl will talk to this mic for 10 minutes and ask it about its life and how many children it has and where it's from. Where'd you get shipped from? We went to New York once, and I thought I was going to throw her into the road because I'm just more...
Like, let's get to our destination and move forward.
Yeah. And I'm not great. I can conversate one-on-one. I love to conversate. Just being out and about, and I'm in an Uber with somebody, I have to really work on, do I need to know their whole life because I'm not going to see them again?
And she wants to know, where are you from? How many kids do you have? How long have you been here in the United States?
Literally.
Like, I want to hear people's story. And she's
impatient.
Squeezing my leg next to me and saying, enough.
Well, I think when it's everybody. And I've learned, though, like, the best of both worlds. Instead, because I can get annoyed with stuff. She can get, sometimes she'll hit me, like, be not, or watch your face or whatever, because my face is very telling. But I have learned, just like she's learned from me, like, it's not like I don't feel like I love people. It's not like I don't feel like it just doesn't always automatically with my personality. I'm just not this ooey gooey, hey. So just in the last couple of days, because I've been working on some things, even at my old age, we are constantly needing to grow. So I looked at her the other day, because everywhere we went, I was talking and hey, I'm talking, saying hi first. And I said, aren't you proud of me?
Yeah.
I'm doing a good job.
You really have developed such a...
Because of you.
I love it. Mm-hmm. There will be times we go through the grocery store line and you're like, listen, we're going to go through this checkout line, and I do not want you to talk to Miss Betty checking us out, okay? I'm like, okay. We do not have time. We got to
be. But that sounds so bad. Like, we don't minister. But I think that's the key to our friendship and other people's friendship. And we have some amazing girls in our life. Shout out to the amazing girls in our life that we also, there's not this, being able to hang out with the women that are also so close to us in the ministry. But the thing is, we do ministry together. And I think if you're in a friendship and you're not able to do true ministry together, so all those times we prayed, all those times we cried, we have gotten to see lives completely transformed. We've gotten to see people saved, baptized, healed right in front of our very eyes. And when we are out, the ministry that does happen with people, whether it's you talking to them, whether it's us talking to them, however that looks, is that your friendship should produce ministry. It should produce fruit.
Absolutely.
Your family first, you know? And that's where I think we're not sitting there like, have we had to talk about things with our family, our husbands, like we're best friends, but there's not like this bashing.
Right.
There's not.
Never.
And I think that's where people have to be careful, is that their best friend is just their sounding board to just bash or gossip.
Right.
And so that's a really strong point too, that if you can do that about other people, you can do that, you know.
Yeah. Always
completely
helping
about
each other see people's hearts in the matter. Right. And consider the other perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So long term, I think for me, that was a question someone had asked, is how to keep something covenant, like how to keep something long term, not seasonal. I personally think that there are going to be people in your life that are for a season. I've had so many seasonal people that I would want to be a lifetime, but because of where I lived or because of different church environments or whatever, it was seasonal reason. I mean, there's been friendships for 6 months with people that were so pertinent for a reason, divine appointments. But then there's the lifetimers, and the lifetimers are where I think so many people are looking for lifetimers, but the longevity factor, which we've already touched on. But one thing I would say is celebrating the wins, being in the valley with the losses.
Absolutely.
Not just to empathize, but to pray over, to intercede over, to help lift up.
Encourage and lift up. Yeah, absolutely.
And then a fruit in ministry. What does that look? Our fruit in friendship is fruit in ministry. I watched, MaryBeth has her own ministry as well. And what's crazy too, when I really think about how we've lasted, not only does she work with the ministry, she also trusts the ministry to bring her studio to all of our events. So our conventions, our competitions. And with that, it's touchy. You're bringing all your, 80 kids from your ministry over to ours, and things that can happen with that. If of all these years we've been doing this, you've been bringing them the start of Earthshakers, not the start of Dance Rev, but close enough, about 5 to 7 years in, of all the things that can shift and happen. And we've had to have those conversations when it's like, hey, this, you might want to change, or, of lasting through that.
Right.
I mean, how many of you can say that you're bringing your clients into that world and then having to exchange that and having to talk through finances and money on top of friendship stuff, on top of that hurt me, or this is what you said, or why haven't you called me? And, you've got to have some firm foundation. Right. And that can't just be the personality, and it needs to be character, but then the character has to be founded and rooted on God, and not just some I'm having my quiet. It has to be rooted in God.
Absolutely. And humility.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Humility and genuine love. And I think that's where we've been able to work through so many things where, there may, like you said, may have been hurt feelings or it's usually a misunderstanding. And even not setting expectations on friendship, on the other person, working through, that there is a process, there's always, perspective to be understood when you have that conversation, to really hear the other one's heart, and that, again, you're safe to be transparent. So I think that I've never really thought about it that way. But the beauty and the richness of the fruit of what your ministry has done in my ministry has been incredible. And truly what it's done, your leadership, has taught me while I'm under your covering. You talk about that a lot, about how incredible it is that I sit under your, are you kidding? I'm there learning, and I believe that I've grown as a leader because I've watched you in action, and just seeing how you lead so much. You have so much on you. But there's always this incredible humility, and I think the love that you put into your people. You are very intentional with each person that you connect with. You say that about me, but you have a beautiful way of doing that. So I think that's what's beautiful, is how it's fleshed out or gone through all of the areas of my ministry, and hearing my girls and my parents, my moms being touched by your words and just your truth bombs throughout the weekend has been incredible. So yeah, no, it goes both ways. It's really beautiful how we've been able to do. God, it's so good like that. I think about going back to that day back in 1995, right?
It was, yes.
Or 94 or 95?
I don't even know.
Wow, that was back in the 1900s.
Wow. For real.
The late 1900s.
This is true.
But yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And as a friend too, I think sometimes people too, when they've got somebody they're close to, or even some of my other friends on the road, we're not trying to single people out. We always bring people in to what's happening. And also, after all these years of working together, you're never coming to me like, I really need you to let me do this, or why aren't you asking me to do that? There's just almost like literally last year, you're like, how about I just get your coffee? And I'm like, you're not just going to get my coffee. But there's not ego. And I think when friendship leagues with ego too, of like, we've been friends, and not a lot of people are working together with their best friends, but even that, because then comparison comes in or all that. But I would say too, I know people wanted us on here to just probably the cutting up and the craziness of who we are. But I think, so one question we did get was a great question. If we had a book, because we both have boutiques too, so we thought we were going to have a boutique together, and that was a big thing. We're going to call it.
I still think we need to do it.
Definitely the Dueling Darlings, because though we have the similar style, we have totally different style and totally different things. Yeah. But what we would call our book and what chapter we are in now.
The first thing I heard when you asked that question, I thought Seasons of Friendship. That's
a great title.
Yeah. The cheerleader, the chapter that we're in, the cheerleader you need to get you through that season you want to end.
Get me off the train.
When you're ready to when you're ready to throw in, that's our joke. I mean, we cheer each other on. We have afternoons where we will call each other and leave each other voice. We can't reach each other because one of us is in a meeting or busy doing something, and we'll leave each other voice memos, cheering each other on, or just being real and transparent. Listen here, let me tell you what kind of day we've had. So,
right, because we wanted to throw in the towel a lot. And I think that we haven't let each other.
No, I think that's what's so beautiful is that we remind each other, who we're called to and why we can continue to run this race. So I think that's God knew exactly what we needed. What would you?
I told you this morning, we have been together the last 2 days and I laugh. I mean, I want it to be this big spiritual title, but also like what just happened to my body. That's the chapter too of like
getting
walking
out of the vehicle.
We've been young together. We've been mid-30s, we've been 40s, and now in our 50s together. How things have changed in our bodies, but how the inside of who we are has not changed.
We're still young at heart.
We are still young at heart. And how we act and how we can still be childlike, yet the body feels like, and going through this phase of life together. But I think I love the title of Seasons because I feel like we've been through winter, long winters. I feel like we've been through fun summers. And so seasons of, and that's where people need to understand in friendship and relationship. If you don't understand how to endure the seasons, you are going to tap out too early. And then, yes, you have to be a cheerleader for your friend. And you can't just be so like, it's going to be great. Like, it's understanding where they're at, but also prophesying into their future. Prophesying of, if we can get through this is what's going to happen. And that's where we've seen miracles with your family, miracles with my family, miracles because we have not said, this is awful, you should probably stop. And we will laugh and make jokes about stuff, but we all know in the end that that's not the truth of who we are. So I thought that was hilarious. So best memories. So I want to talk about best memories, the funniest. We have so many crazy memories, but my favorite too is be a friend that fights for you with other people. Now, I don't know about scrap fighting. Maybe that too, but I will still never remember because we've grown, also your personality can grow. Your character should always grow. And personalities, I still feel like I'm a shell. And that's where too, I had a friend that knew who I was back then. and I think, has seen the transformation. And also her. Listen, we were at a Bible study together that we did at, I know I'm clicking on my microphone. And this girl, this was the impatience in me. We were at this Bible study together, the sweetest, and we were all sitting around with all these girls. And my girl would bring a picture of her now husband to the Bible study, set it on the floor, and talk to us for like an hour about this guy and what God's showing her about him, and set his senior picture up on this. And I would just look at this girl
and
like,
roll her
oh
eyes.
my gosh. But yet inside of me, I kind of knew I need to be praying for her. But she was just so open and honest about this guy. And I'm thinking, I can't believe she put this picture up like it's some shrine at our Bible study. Then we'd go get snacks and she'd bring the picture.
No, I did not.
But that is who she ended up marrying, because she, even back then, would be prophesying and praying and believing God, even though we didn't even know what that was. Right? And so that's the thing too, is don't discount yourself with, I don't have the knowledge for it. Just start operating in what you know. Amen. And then God will reveal it in the end. Yeah. But I also remember she was always so sweet and so kind and all of these things. And I had a roommate back then. And I was I was Michelle from the block before I got saved. And so I really wanted to change in my relationship with God. And I really cleaned up my mouth, and I stopped cursing all the time. I stopped drinking. I stopped doing all the things. And I was just trying to walk the clean line. So the old me with somebody that slighted me or didn't treat me right would have gotten like a fistful. And I was saved and sanctified. So I was trying to change my ways. And so I had a roommate. And MaryBeth would come over all the time and just see some of the stuff I would put up with. But I was like, I gotta love her. But one night, MaryBeth decided she was gonna love her with the fear of the Lord. And we were walking down the stairs of an apartment, and this girl was coming downstairs and said something to me. And
I about had enough. When you watch a friend take and take and take, and she had never seen that side of me.
No.
I had never, ever lost it.
Right.
I was always, like you said, I was always so sweet and so understanding. And this girl, it was like Mama Lion. I hadn't even become a mama yet.
Wow.
I unleashed and put her in her place and said, you don't talk to my girl like that. And I said some other things.
She said a boo-boo word. And I was shocked because she was so...
I'd never seen that.
But it was forgivable because it was so
I still laugh about it.
A friend that will fight for you. A friend that won't let others talk about you. A friend that won't let others slight you. And she came out and bared that moment, and it put her in her place. And we didn't have any trouble after that.
Yeah.
But that helped me because I would have been... It also, she allowed me to not turn into who I used to be, to take care of that situation. And though it was intense in the moment, it put everybody in their place. But I realized, she's going to fight for me. She's going to fight for our friendship.
Yeah.
She's going to fight for what's right. And so we have thousands of memories. Oh my gosh, I have too many to tell. Even we're pregnant together, having babies together, all things.
Oh yeah.
But that memory sticks out.
Yeah.
Do you have a memory that sticks out to you?
I knew you were going to ask me. I just have so many. Help me. Goodness.
Help me.
There's so many.
Oh my goodness. On the road, in staycations together, in vacations together. I just still think probably our best memory, honestly, that we would say was at your aunt's house.
For sure.
When we started dancing and learning how to worship together.
Absolutely. I mean, I can remember the lighting in that room. I mean, the presence of the Lord was there. I mean, he was all over that. And what a blessing. That was it was a Friday night. It was like a Friday or Saturday night.
That's what we did on our Friday nights, dance to Sandy Patty.
We would house sit. My
that's right,
aunt and uncle's house. They weren't there, and we chose to worship and be in his presence. And that's a big one. I can just remember early on in our friendship, just being in the car with the windows down, driving through downtown Orlando, heading to Disney with our Disney passes.
Was Michelle still smoking back then?
Yeah.
That's the one thing I couldn't give up back then.
Right. And I would get upset with you for making it smell smoky.
And you would tell me I stunk and that I smelled like corn and I needed to stop smoking. And then I met Alec Brogan and
that all changed.
That all changed everything.
Yeah. But I think about just how you and I knew, there's so many memories, but I think what I love so much is that when you and I get together, we can be serious, we can talk deep, we can talk about the Lord, we can talk about our challenges, but again, like you said, we can be kids together, like we can laugh. I mean, we are we can be ourselves, you know? And I don't know, I just think we have so many sweet moments where we challenge each other too. Like, I mean, yes, we challenge each other spiritually and all the things, but you also challenge me to do crazy things and I somehow do them. I mean, I am kind of a stick in the mud sometimes. And when you come into the picture, I will do
anything.
crazy challenges in the middle of the store.
We'll be anywhere and I'll be like, go do this, MaryBeth.
And I'll do it.
And it's respectful things, but it's also getting her out of her box,
Yes.
getting me out of my box.
Yeah.
Of just like
Having
the fun
fun.
of friendship and sisterhood.
So beautiful.
Challenge your friendships
Yeah.
today. Do something fun. Put a sock on your. Yesterday we walked around with nylon socks on our head and just laughed and took pictures.
Yes.
Like, and some people might be like, that's so immature. I would challenge you then. What is that pride in you? That again, we aren't doing this. You know, the things that we do and the fun that we have, we know the timing and we know the right timing to do it. And especially on the road when we're working together, there we have a lot of fun, but we're not doing it, you know, we're learning about when it's time to lead, when it's time to pray, when it's time to go ahead and crack a joke because there's something that needs a joy burst in the room.
Right.
But also, he says to have childlike faith to come to him. So why wouldn't you have childlike fun and childlike faith with your friendships?
Absolutely.
And also the maturity that comes from that and wisdom because it's grown us to the maturity that we have now. So what I want to say to, just to leave it, because I feel like, well, we got some questions but I feel like so much of what we said touched on it. Somebody asked us about skincare. That's funny. We'll have to do a whole,
that's all you.
We'll have to do a whole tutorial on that. We'll link our skincare routines because, you know, that's the new thing too, is you start talking about things and growing together and the things that are happening in your body and the things that you can be vulnerable about and laugh about with that. But for people out there, I just want to leave it. We always want to leave the podcast too is something that's going to help. You know, I feel like the big thing I hear from friendships that we have is people trying to find community and trying to find people that are going to be those people they can sit with, they can have dinners with, they can have over to their house. And a big thing people are challenged with right now is the social media and the media in general is showing how much division and trying to find people that are like-minded. The thing about being like-minded does not mean we do not like all the same food. We like some of the same fashion. There might be some discrepancies on things we think even biblically. We talked at dinner the other night. We opened the table for some biblical things that though we can agree on the main thing, there are some challenges that I'm like, maybe you see it that way, or maybe in Revelation we were thinking this, but some people trip that up there from the unmain things to say, well, if you don't agree with me totally,
then we're done. That's not,
And we parent a little different. I mean, you cook more than me. Like, there's so many things, and it's not like that's bad or this is good. It's just like, why would our
differences define who we are?
So I think some people just need to be encouraged of, the main thing, if MaryBeth ever starts to divide me in my time with the Lord, divide me in my time with my family, divide how I feel about my family, my husband, how I feel about Jesus, how I feel about other people that I'm friends with, that we're all friends with, I would say that when I say game over, I would still pray and we would love each other, but we wouldn't be able to share this kind of space.
Right.
But some of us need to be careful with the disagreement of some things, that it has to be the thing that you agree on to maintain a friendship.
Absolutely.
Because that's what makes you different and that's what makes you friends.
And it grows you
as
a person when you're in the room with somebody who sees things differently. Stop and listen and talk through it. I mean, really, that's the best way to minister to somebody. You know, is ask them about, so, you know, what are your beliefs? Climb into their world. Climb into their hurt. Maybe there's a reason why they believe. Maybe there's a reason why they established this belief system, because there's probably pain behind it. But ultimately, don't let that divide you. You know, really come to that place where there's enough humility there where you can talk through that, and it's okay to not agree on everything. It's okay to disagree. It's good.
So those friends are out there. You might discover them. I wasn't praying for, like, I know you were praying at that time to go to church, and I was just wanting to get closer to God. But what the thing too is, a lot of people right now are just making such a focus on community, such a focus on friendship. When I met you, and where a lot of people have come into my life, is me focusing on Jesus. Jesus, I want to be closer to you. So he knows when someone needs to step in, or a group of people need to step in to bring you closer to him. Because if you're just praying about community, you're praying for a best friend, or you're praying for things like that, that becomes the I think, the idol
Absolutely.
that we're wanting God to be inserted in, but he needs to be first above it all. So that when we had that time that we weren't talking, it didn't become an idol. It just became, it was sad moments, but then it became the strongest moments of our life. So I think for people, just focus on him.
Seeking him. And I do think back at that season. I remember saying to him, I miss you. I miss you. And he knew that I needed a friend who would help draw me to him. So, wow. Like, I think about that. Yeah, I did. I remember missing him. I remember missing that walk. And look what he did.
Right. You weren't praying for, I need a bestie.
No, it really wasn't. Yeah.
And that's seeking ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness. And then these things, the things that matter, the things that aren't materialistic, the things that will last. Also have friendships that don't divide you in who you are as well. I've had friendships in my life that, when you got to look at patterns too, and I want to leave us with this, is look at patterns, because I have had some amazing friendships. I still have amazing friendships, and like I said, I've had recencies in a lifetime of like, how is this changing me for the better?
Right.
And how is this, going, oh, this is starting some patterns in my life that I don't feel like are healthy.
Right.
How I see myself, healthy in my finances, healthy of how I see church, healthy of how I see leadership. So be careful to have cues and those friendships to be honest and confrontational. If that doesn't change, then I know you don't want to cut people off or be like mean, but like you've got to be careful with your time and your talent and what's coming into your ear with friendships, because it can steer the ship where I've had to go sometimes. I'm going to the wrong island, even though God is involved.
Sure.
Could be even people from church or people from godly groups, but like what just happened? It was a slow fade.
Right. It's always a slow fade. Yeah. And coming into the situation where when you go into the situation and you're with that person, but when you walk out of it, how are you walking out of it? Are you closer with Jesus? Do you feel like you walk and talk more like Jesus? Or, what is getting on you in those moments with those friendships? Right. So I think,
Well, I just want to say, I know people are like, oh my gosh, I just talking about their friendship. Hopefully it helps, because it has been something, the thing too is watch fruit. A lot of people want to have fast results, and all these things in this time we're living in is fast. Things are coming fast for people, and momentum is coming fast. The problem with fast is the roots have not grown deep. And I think watch some things out there, and you never want to be like something else. It's just learning from something else. That fruit will tell, time will tell, but there has to be fruit attached to friendship. There has to be fruit attached to what is going on with that, so that God can bless that.
Yeah.
And I just want to say again, thank you for, the more I've thought about it as we were going to do this, of the things we've walked through, the times we've walked through, being a part of what we've done, always celebrating, even like new production year and the props and the things that you're always, it's not like, Michelle, I have other things to do right now. Even though I know there's probably times it's like, I got other things that are more important. I've got my own things that are important. But you've made it not about me, you've made it about him. And so it's made space for us to help each other. But, you've helped me immensely with so many things. And I've never felt like, wow, this is, there's not been contention with that. And so I just want to thank you for all the things and all the things we've walked through, watching our kids grow up, watching what God's doing with them, and the times we were staring at the dirt, like, is there going to be fruit?
Yeah.
And he continues to show us that the fruit is there.
Yes,
and it's coming.
because he's in the center of it all.
He's in the center
so
of it all.
good. Yeah.
So listen, have fun with your friends. I know we could have just done all of our dances and our voices and our faces and all the things, but that would have just made you laugh and not helped the things that really matter.
Yeah.
But follow us on Instagram to see some more crazy things that we do, and watch God move in our lives, our families' lives, our ministries' lives, and we are very grateful for that. So until next time.
Yes.
Because I want to do this again. We'll talk about other things.
Absolutely.
We'll do skincare next time. I'll see you guys soon on the Under the Influence podcast.